I'm Matt Elman, and you're listening to the Complete Confidence with Cambridge podcast. We've got lots of useful tips and tricks to help you plan your school year as you prepare your learners for their Cambridge English qualifications. Whether you've been teaching exam classes for years or just at the start of your teaching career, come along with us. We'll help you unpack the English language exam journey using our own real-life experience and easy-to-follow examples from the exam preparation course Complete. So, let's get started. Today's episode is brought to you by Olha Madylus. Olha has taught in the UK, Greece, Hong Kong and Venezuela. She's a freelance author, materials designer, consultant and teacher trainer, and her main focus is on understanding and motivating learners.
Hello, and welcome to this podcast. At this stage of the exam journey, I think it's really important to think about the examiner. What is the examiner looking for? What will get you good marks in the exam? It's very important for students to know that, for example, in the speaking, just giving a true answer is not enough sometimes. They need to showcase what they can say in English. A very useful tool for this is the handbooks. These give good examples of writing and speaking tests that real students have taken, and they give the marks based on the criteria that the examiner uses. It's really important that students know that there are different things that the examiner wants to read or hear. So we can use these in class, we can give the students the criteria, we can give them a piece of writing to mark, or they can watch a video and watch it and mark it. And that's a very nice task to do actually with the speaking, is when they do an exam task, they do it in groups. And this can also be great fun. So you have the two candidates, you have the examiner, and you might have an observer or two who will give feedback. If students do this task in groups and they actually think about the role of the examiner, they actually listen to each other and think about what is a good answer or not and talk about it. This really helps them to understand what is important in these exams. To suggest a few activities here that you can be doing at this stage. With speaking, there are lots of things that you can do that are actually quite fun. We can make an exam task a bit more fun. So let's just look at an example from the book. Unit 11, page 104. Here is a very nice example of a speaking task. And the students have to talk about what's in the pictures. Well, let's use these pictures to play a game. And I call this game 30 seconds. And the idea is that the students look at the picture, you give them some time to prepare, and they have to try to keep talking for 30 seconds. And one of the students can be a timekeeper, and the person who speaks the longest can get a round of applause. But this really encourages students to use a range of language and vocabulary and to keep speaking, because the examiner needs to hear more than just a few words to give you points for that. There are a number of games that you can do in class to get students speaking. Very simple warmers that you can do. A very fun one is a game I call My Cat, and it goes round the class and every student has to think of an adjective for a cat starting with a different letter of the alphabet. So I would start and say, my cat is an angry cat. And then the next student would say, my cat is a brown cat. And the next one, my cat is a curious cat. And this is really good for activating vocabulary, because in the exam, as in life, we need to use that vocabulary. We need to bring it to the fore. All this vocabulary is in their heads. We need to get them to get used to using it. You can always just start a lesson if you're going to talk about friends by saying, okay, as quickly as possible, write down 6 or 7 adjectives that you can use to describe a friend. 6 or 7 adjectives you can describe to use the beach. And a very fun game that I like to do, I call 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it might be something like, name 5 red fruits. And they will have to start thinking of 5 red fruits. 4 team sports, 3 dangerous jobs, 2 things we wear on our feet, 1 flying animal. Somehow the numbers give it an extra bit of fun, but the students have to think quickly and shout out these words, or the teams can say them. What we're doing is we're really activating language. And as I say, if you don't activate that language in an exam, you're not showing off what you know. So here are a few ideas for writing tasks that you can do in class to help them develop some of the more sophisticated techniques that they need to really show off in their writing. An activity I do is a gapped dictation. And I will dictate a little story, but I'll leave out the linking words. And these are really useful because students need to write some more complex sentences. So I would say something like, yesterday I decided to go to the beach. I forgot my swimming costume. And the students have to think, what's the missing word? So at the end, they would have that more complex sentence, but, or unfortunately. They can have lots of different possibilities, but they're thinking about, in their writing, how to make those ideas link. Another way of doing that is to give them the beginning of a sentence stem, and they have to continue it. For example, he's the man who. I went to the shop where. So they're really concentrating on writing that more complex sentence.
Let's recap.
So coming up to the exams, very, very useful to use the handbooks to give students a good idea what the examiner is looking for, and then really focusing on getting the students to show off the language they know in their speaking tasks and their writing. This way, students will have very clear goals on what they're trying to achieve in the exam, because they know what will make a very, very good answer. And it's very important that they realise they have to activate that language they know to impress the examiner to get those really good grades.
That's it for today. Discover more episodes from this series on our website, cambridge.org/completeconfidence. We have podcast episodes for every level of the Cambridge exams. Come back and join us again soon. And don't worry, you've got this.
You've been listening to the Complete Confidence with Cambridge podcast, brought to you by Cambridge University Press and Assessment.